Am I the arsehole? For not wanting to share my wedding leftovers with my sil? Am I the arsehole? Or am I just being petty over my sil raiding my wedding leftovers? So my wedding was a Saturday and we had guests in from out of town leaving on Sunday, so we had Mill take the leftovers to her house to store until we could make room and freeze any leftover cookies. I easily had 8 trays of food, 10 boxes of cupcakes and 3 trays of cupcakes left. We arrived Monday after the wedding to retrieve our stuff to take to our house, only to be informed that we were now down to 3 food trays, 3 boxes of cookies and some cupcakes. I was furious but bit my tongue until a couple days later. Turns out the sil went and raided our stuff, taking food and cookies to take home with her. Keep in mind, I allowed people to take Togo stuff from the wedding and expected what we took home was ours. The same day we picked up our stuff, we also received a phone call. She wanted more of our cookies and cupcakes to take to work. Am I the arsehole? For getting pissed off and causing a fight with my husband after only being married a few days? Update for those asking. The food was packed up and taken to Mill's house following the reception because she had the room at the time to keep it for us, knowing we would not be able to get there until Monday to pick it up. Had the sil asked, I would have been more than willing to share. It was a decent amount of food and sweets. I'm upset that she didn't ask us, took it upon herself to help herself and then had the nerve to ask for more. I'm not a selfish person, but I was upset when I wanted to get something, it was gone. I've said to my husband many times while we were dating about his sister's behavior, because this isn't the only time she has acted entitled, and he just blows it off, maybe because he knows how his family is. Don't get me wrong, I love my in-laws, but sometimes they really overstep their boundaries. Not the arsehole. I could see her taking a tray or 2 of food, but she took 5 trays of food and 7 boxes of cookies in one day, if that's correct. You don't take more than half the food that someone else paid for without asking, that's just rude. Info: who paid for the food? ETA not the arsehole for sure. You paid for the food, you decide who gets the leftovers. Sil is an entitled R. Draw the line in the sand now, or it will only get worse. If your spouse doesn't back you on this and address his family's line crossing, and it's his job, not yours, then he is an R, too. Not the arsehole. This is just not as consulted. Usually if even the close family doesn't offer you don't even one thing, is to maybe think you are entitled to take without asking. Okay, you might act on this and take 1 ration of each, not polish more than a half of what was left and then ask for even more. It almost sounds like the mother-in-law said to her daughter, what on earth they will do with this stuff, you take it. I mean, a mother of the groom could probably not think twice and help her son. Or a huge spoiled princess syndrome that the sister has. Not the arsehole. Why? Just why do some people think they're entitled to someone else's belongings? And without even asking? Also, your new husband has to start learning which family to prioritize first, and that isn't his dearest sister or mother, it's you. Not the arsehole. Did you have plans for all the items? If so, she needs to replace them. If there was a casual feel that people can take things home at the wedding, maybe she was operating under that assumption. You're running high on wedding emotions. Congrats BTW, and this soured the afterglow. Of course you're angry she didn't ask and she just took. And that's okay. That is beyond rude, and I would probably let Sil know that you'd had plans for the food from your wedding. Perhaps when it is her birthday or Christmas, you include a note that says your gift was the cookies and cupcakes from our wedding. Mill didn't even have the decency to contact you first and ask if it is okay. They were in her fridge, so she should have said to Sil, you can't take without checking with you. I'd make sure never to have Mill or Sil alone in your home. What did you say on the phone call? No, there's no more food for you to take to work. Actually, I had plans to keep all of the leftover food and I was surprised when you took more than half of it without asking. Not the arsehole. No, we won't be giving up any more of our food. Our supply has been diminished more than we expected already. Next time please ask if we had plans for our food. Not the arsehole op. And since your husband doesn't appear to have your back on this, I'd suggest going to marriage counseling, or the next thing y'all will be discussing is alimony. Just going by what you said, your Sil is so entitled that she thinks it's okay to take copious amounts of food without asking for permission first, which makes her a huge R. Not the asshole. That wasn't her food to share. She did no pay for it nor ask if she could take any of it beyond what was already allotted. She should reimburse you. Not the asshole. It sounds as if you had a lot of leftover food. She had no right to just take the food you paid for. If she had asked, would you have given more? You need to put your foot down now and set some boundaries, otherwise this will continue. Info: what was your Mill's involvement and understanding when you sent the food to her home? Not the asshole. Still presumptuous in the extreme. Not the asshole. Your husband is spineless. It's not too late to rethink this marriage, TBH. This is how it's going to be now and in the future should you ever get into confrontations and arguments with his side of the family. I've been there. It is not worth it. Oof, I think your biggest mistake here was the marriage. Info: what did your husband say about her taking the food? Did he try to give her more when she called him? Not the asshole, and you better start fighting your corner cause no one else is, and tell Sil you are charging her for all the food she has taken without your permission. Not the asshole. Our wedding dinner was barbecue, and my bill took all the leftover meat home. Nothing else, just the expensive meat. I was furious. I would 100 bill her for everything she took. Not the asshole, but understand that this is going to set the tone for your relationship going forward. I would absolutely call her out on taking the food that you paid for without permission. It's effectively stealing, and I would tell Mill that you are disappointed she didn't do what she promised. I'd look her straight in the eyes and say, wow, your work ate 7 trays of food. That cost $700. They owe me a sweet wedding gift. Then walk away. Absolutely send her a bill for the food. Not the asshole. Thinking ahead to the future. If you ever host a holiday, beware of Sil bringing Tupperware. Not the asshole. Who does that? Absolutely not the asshole. Plus, she's taking it to work, she not even eating it? If she works in like unhoused outreach or something charitable, I'd maybe let it go. But based on the situation of her not even asking, my money is on that not being the case. But your husband probably told her she could have it without asking you. Get this marriage annulled ASAP, or you are in for the worst ride of your life. Good luck, hop. At least you had a trial run with cookies and food. I know someone who gave their wedding jewelry for safekeeping to their mill. Needless to say, a lot of sentimental and expensive items went missing. So you're going to spend the rest of your life knowing that Sil's wants will come before yours. Enjoy your marriage, op. I certainly wouldn't put up with that nonsense. Is your love for your husband going to pay bills when his sister needs that very expensive doodad and he pays for it? Info: why did you start fighting with your husband? This event by itself is really a what's done is done thing, and you may cause far more grief trying to rectify it your way. That said, you clearly feel like she violated a boundary of yours. But, also because it was at your mill's house, it adds complexity as a possible fair game thing rather than if it was at your own home. It's really hard to control what's not in your control. I would ask more about what about the event is actually causing you to get angry. Was this a communication issue or a boundary issue? Why didn't you get pissed off and cause a fight with your Sil, you thief? Or person apparently responsible for your food? Not the asshole. Your Sil didn't pay for the food and should have not expected to have any of the leftovers. Sounds like your husband and all of his family are ours. Not the asshole. Send her a bill. Tell her that she didn't have your permission to what didn't belong to her. Your new husband needs to get a spine and tell her that what she did was wrong. Not the asshole. I despise entitled people. But give her more cookies or cupcakes, just add something to them to make everyone remember who brought them in.